we did not delay. Now, first you must note that a lot of this are shrouded in secrecy, you know. Even the list we talk about, it is what we got from the press, as it were. There appear to be láti ṣètò ẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ tó ti gbọ́ lọ́rùn, ṣùgbọ́n púpọ̀ ẹ̀ àkọsínú ìwé táwọn oníwèé ìròyìn tó ń gbé ni. Ó wá ṣeé ṣe kọ́ máa rò pé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ kan àbí àwọn ọ̀dàlúrú àbí àwọn opposition àbí nǹkan kan fún ẹgbẹ́ heritage nìkan àbí nǹkan kan lọ́kàn ń ṣètò yẹn. Ìyẹn la fi sọ pé nǹkan tẹ́ rí nínú pépà o, a fẹ́ kí ẹ rí àwọn àtà sọ àti pé bí a ṣe sọ ìyà tó fi ń jẹ Eti-Osa, ìyà tí wọ́n fi ń jẹ Eti-Osa, òun la fẹ́ wá sọ ẹ̀bẹ̀ ládẹ̀fẹ́ lábẹ́ nítorí pẹ̀lú ìyọ̀ǹda àwọn bàbá màá pòwe kan kí dẹ̀ lówó yẹn nínú gbogbo ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ ó dàbí pé ọmọdé la ṣì jẹ́, wọ́n dẹ̀ ní ọmọdé kò ní kéré títí kó má lè dáná bí ṣùgbọ́n kò ní lè dá kọ̀yà. Torí ẹ̀ la ṣe project gbogbo lé, torí ẹ̀ la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe eléyìí. Gbogbo ìta wá ń ṣe ń bí lẹ́nì pẹ̀lú ìyọ̀ǹda àwọn bàbá, pẹ̀lú ìyọ̀ǹda àwọn bàbá. A tún padà sórí òwe yẹn. Tá bá dáṣe nípa pé ká bínú ká faraya, ká lọ sí express, ká blọọkù títì, ká ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Tá a sọ, tá a dẹ̀ pé àwọn bàbá fúnra ojú jàǹdùkú lásán lọ́kàn máa fi wò wá. Eléyìí o, ẹnìkan kan ò rán wa pé olóṣèlú ẹnìkan, kìdá ṣe pé torí bóyá Sanni gan bóyá orúkọ ẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ gbà tán wàá mú Sanni ló ṣe pé èròjọ àbí kíní ó tí o. Ẹni tọ́lọ́run bá máa yó ayò, ìyẹn ni gbogbo àmọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tó jẹ́ ti gbogbo wa, nǹkan tó jẹ́ ti bàbá wa, kí wọ́n máa pín ká má wàá rí ìdígi wa ẹyọ kọ̀ọ̀kan ní ìdígi wa. Kò tẹ́ bá mẹ́nìkan tábàtẹ̀ ń ṣe apásọ́sẹ̀ pé ṣóhun nìkan ni ṣóhun ní kíní kan, ìjà alé nìyẹn, ìjà alé láàrin ara wa. Ìyẹn kọ́ làwọn ará àtàwọn máa fi lù pé àwọn ọkùnrin mi èyí tó wá wọ́ọ̀sì bí Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kó wọ́ọ̀sì fún wa. Òun lọ̀rọ̀ pé tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá mú wa, ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo ayé mọ̀ pé mú Eti-Osa mú yàn kíá nǹkan tó bá wọn kan ṣe. Ṣùgbọ́n ká máa dọ́gbọ́n àwọn ta mú tẹ́ orúkọ wọn ọmọ tẹ́ pé tó bá ti pe orúkọ wọn amọ́bí tó orúkọ yẹn ti wá nípa pé Yorùbá àwọn orúkọ kan nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n pé ìlú báyìí báyìí ló ti wá. Tẹ̀mọ́ wá kà wọ́n mọ́ wa. Wọ́n gba nǹkan tó máa gbà tán, experience yẹn àti owó àti gbogbo nǹkan wọ́n gbà. Kọ́ wa máa lọ lò ó nílùú tí wọ́n. Òfin Nàìjíríà tó sọ wípé tí ẹ bá ti ń gbé níbì kan ó lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ sáwọn nǹkan kan, ó níbi tó dé o, ó níbi tó dé. Èèyàn lè jọmọ Nàìjíríà láì jẹ́ pé ó jẹ́ indigene ìlú kan. Constitution ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Constitution sọ wípé ẹni tó wá máa jẹ́ Nàìjíríà á jẹ́ ẹ̀kan tó jẹ́ pé nínú bàbá ẹ̀ àbí ìyá bàbá ẹ̀ jẹ́ lára àwọn ìran kan tó wà indigenous sí Nàìjíríà kí Nàìjíríà tó gba independence. Ètò yẹn ló wà nílẹ̀. Ní Lagostate tó bá fẹ́ gba nǹkan, táwọn ọmọ wa bá fẹ́ wọ lásù àbí nǹkan, wọ́n á ní kó lọ ṣe interview indigene. Nǹkan tá à ń béèrè fún kì í ṣe pé bóyá kì í ṣe bí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá wa lẹ́yìn kíní kan á fi bẹ̀rù pé kéòsè o bàbá kó jẹ́ ti á fi bẹ̀rù kéòsè òun nǹkan tá à ń ní afẹ́ka gbọ́ra gbogbo ìta à ń sọ yìí nǹkan tá a máa sọ lóyìnbó táwọn ọmọ máa gbé lọ òun ni nínú wa níbí náà wọ́n ṣe kán pè wá ká sọ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹjọ́ bó bá jẹ́ Yorùbá lè sọ kò sọ bó bá jẹ́ pidgin English ni kó sọ fún àwọn press kó fi mọ̀ wípé kì í ṣàwọn kan náà kàn lọ kóra wọn jọ tí wọ́n ń ṣe kìíní yìí. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ tún wá ṣe ìyànjẹ yẹn ti pọ̀ tipẹ́, ìgbà tó máa ṣe lè kìí ṣe tí ọ̀sà nìkan, àwọn yòókù náà ti ń pariwo. Ṣùgbọ́n àwa fẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ oníbìníràn káriwo wa ó wà níṣẹ́ eré tó rẹ̀ la ṣe ṣe nínú ilé nígbà yìí, ká sọ̀rọ̀ kan gbé, ká má bọ́ sórí orí títì ká máa jà ká máa ṣe pé gbogbo ẹ̀, torí tó bá di yẹn a mọ bí àwọn ọmọ jàǹdùkú kọ́ máa lọ kó sáàárín wa, ìtorí ẹ̀ la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe láti kọ́ sóbi tó kù sí. Màá kà ní orúkọ gbogbo léyìí, màá kà fáwọn press ní òyìnbó. Wọ́n á dẹ̀ béèrè question tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ wa, nítorí àwọn ìbéèrè tí àwọn èèyàn náà máa béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn lọ́hùn tó bá gbé, so gbogbo ẹ̀ á ṣàlàyé fún wọn nǹkan tí àwa ṣe.
Adé ọpẹ́ wa ládé, gbogbo nǹkan tí à ń rò lọ́kàn ní ti dáadáa kọ́lọ́run ṣe fún wa, gbogbo kọta bá wá dé ní ti dáadáa ní Ọlọ́run adé jẹ̀ka rí nǹkan tá a fẹ́, gbogbo nǹkan tó ń dùn wá lọ́kàn Ọlọ́run á ṣe fún wa nírọ̀rùn, gbogbo nǹkan tá a wá ń sá kiri fún lọ́tún lósì tá a fi wá sí ibẹ̀ ilé Ọlọ́run á bá bòróró òtúra sí, gbogbo bá ti fẹ́ lọ́lọ́run á bá wa fẹ́, èyí tá a bá sọ bí lénìí á rí bí àṣẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí Elédùmarè náà àṣẹ lọ́la wàlá haúlá wàlá kùwátá ìlà rẹ̀.
So, we, the Indigenes of Eti-Osa local government, wish to express our deep concern and disappointment regarding the ongoing marginalization of Eti-Osa Indigenes and the appointment of executive council members by the Lagostate government. This press conference is a call for fairness, inclusivity, and transparency in the governance of our beloved state. We were shocked by the news that a list of 39 nominees for commissioners and special advisors emanating from the office of the Chief of Staff to the Governor to the Speaker of the State Assembly dated 7th July 2023 claimed 12 out of 39 of the nominees to be from Eti-Osa local government area. To us, this is yet another exercise in misrepresentation. The practice of residents, even with names that apparently belong outside Lagostate, claiming to be indigenous of a local ancestral community of ours for political gains at the expense of the community, is now becoming entrenched. As stated in our earlier letters to the Office of the Governor, dated 2nd August, as well as that of the Honorable Speaker, dated 10th August 2023, we insist that the names on the forwarded list, who are now being screened by the State House of Assembly, did not contain a single indigene of Eti-Osa. This meeting today is to further put our faces to those letters of protest. Ours is an indigenous community with over 500 years of history, and our local government constitutionally recognized as a major constituent part of Lagos State. We consider this an anomaly and therefore call upon the governor to redress the same as a matter of political and constitutional imperative by ensuring that Eti-Osa indigenes are adequately represented. And the fact of this is the emphasis is on the constitutional imperative. We are not asking for a favor. It's as a matter of rights. To be a citizen of Nigeria, you have to belong to an ethnic group that is indigenous to Nigeria. And that is the basis, and that is the real issue about being indigenous. And so, and Lagos State government, as a government, has a policy of ensuring that certain positions, certain privileges, certain rights accrue to indigenes. There is a state policy of ensuring that people are indigenous for certain positions. For our children to go to Lagos State University and to enjoy the fees for Indigenes, they had to be screened. This is therefore, wondering that when it comes to political appointments, that is jettisoned. The argument by some people that, oh look, as residents, you are entitled to stay in any part of Nigeria and claim what you have, is being bastardized here. Because what we have here is a situation where people, for purposes of taking political appointments, come in to rent apartments. They just come in just as, maybe 3 months earlier and grab these positions and then go outside and even flaunt their faces when they go outside the state to want to be, something else. They acquire experiences, they acquire money, they get financial advantages. What this does to us is that it leaves us with some level of disparity in terms of competition with these people, especially when we're talking about national appointments or even within the states. If governorship aspirants were to be selected and consideration is to be given for experience and all of that, where do Eti-Osa Indigenes get theirs if you are not appointing them for even position as small as permanent secretaries? If they are being excluded, from holding sensitive or what is considered as sensitive positions, even in agencies of government. As Indigenes, we are bothered that despite our community's contributions to the revenue generation, growth and development of Lagostate, the present administration appears to be willful and persistent in excluding and marginalizing the people of Eti-Osa local government in the leadership of the state, as demonstrated by the patterns of appointments over time. Notwithstanding the administration's obvious marginalization, however, we never relent in showing commitment to our state and the government at all levels. We recall our series of engagements on this issue, as well as the specific promises made by Mr. Governor at the last stakeholders meeting held on Sunday, 12th February 2023 in Eti-Osa. It is surprising to note, however, that the meeting, like others, has not yielded any fruit in correcting the wrongs of the past. When it was fanciful so to do, the governor and his team came here, summoned all the Obas, Bales, and all traditional religious leaders, and to canvass support and inclusion, in the last election. And the government was supported. And let me even say this, even if the government was not supported, what the Constitution of Nigeria says is that you cannot administer a state without including all the segments of that state. So in this case, the Eti-Osa people supported the current government like they've always been doing. And people have, the guts to, just sit down somewhere, make up figures, and allot them to Eti-Osa. If you want to dare, so be it. You can have a list of all the names and let the world know that Eti-Osa is not included. Why this subterfuge? Why use names and call them Eti-Osa? In fact, people from outside Eti-Osa have been calling us to express, how lucky they think we are that we have 12 people out of 39 coming from Eti-Osa, and they had thought that, oh, this is our time in Eti-Osa. But to their chagrin, none, not even one, is from here. Nothing can be further, from representation. The current situation, where 12 individuals unknown to the leadership of the community now pose as Indigenes of the local government, is worse than the past we've been dealing with. It is pertinent to categorically state here that Apart from the Executive Council, this administration has not appointed any indigene of Eti-Osa local government to the position of permanent secretary. I'm sure some of you will be shocked to hear that. Permanent secretary. Board chairman or member, head of parastatals or agencies in the Lagos State Ministry, as well as Council of Universities owned by Lagos State government. We recall that even in the last administration, only one of our indigents was appointed as commissioner, while so many total strangers, just as the current list, were used to fill the Eti-Osa quota in utter contempt and disregard for legal and constitutional principles. This development has sparked feelings of continuous neglect and disillusionment among our people. But avoidance of doubt, Eti-Osa has competent professionals in every field of life. And this needs to be emphasized. It's to be the saying that, oh, they don't have qualified people, they don't have graduates. We have seen even at national level in this country, where people who never went to the universities have become ministers. So when you're talking about commissioners, as president of Eti-Osa Heritage Organization, I have more than 4 PhD holders in my organization. And they are practicing, practical scholars. Those who are holding their own fort in their own sphere of life. We have HODs of government universities and all the likes. Members of the Eti-Osa Heritage Organization alone will supply all, and I mean all, the list of commissioners and any other of such appointments that they would have required. But we're not insisting. Can you please get people from all segments of Lagos State, and especially from Eti-Osa, where we have more than competent hands so to do. We condemn the practice of using other persons to impersonate the Indigenes as representatives of Eti-Osa, even when such people deploy those resources and experience garnered at our expense to go and develop their own communities while leaving us politically and financially desolate. Such practice also robs us of our constitutional right to participate in governance in the state, as well as at the federal level. It was in anticipation of this practice of using non-indigenous to replace us and the need to redress same that Eti-Osa leaders of thought with Eti-Osa Indigenes and other organizations submitted a list of nominees from among the Indigenes to the office of the governor for consideration. But it would seem that no consideration was given to this list. We implore the governor, having said all of this, we implore the governor to redress the anomaly in this submission to the Lagos State House of Assembly by ensuring the inclusion of Eti-Osa Indigenes from those earlier submitted by our community. By so doing, this administration will send a strong signal of hope for equity and fairness to all the Indigenes of Lagos State. Eti-Osa must be recognized as a distinct community for purposes of allocation of our common resources, human and material. And there must be equal and transparent opportunity in employment into the civil service and other agencies of government as a matter of right. Eti-Osa Indigenes in state civil service should also be put in strategic positions like their counterparts, and there must be deliberate efforts by government to end the systematic marginalization of our indigenes. Appointment of non-indigenes as our representatives leads to misrepresentation and structural marginalization. We do not deserve to be treated as mere onlookers in our state, but remain hopeful that the governor will take our concern into account and work towards a more balanced and representative administration. In the end, we look forward to the governor as the messiah as to end this political manipulation without the need to look forward to the future for a rescuer. And we wish that long live Eti-Osa, long live Lagos State, long live Nigeria. This speech is read by me, Adewale Sani, President, Eti-Osa Heritage Organization, member, Eti-Osa Leaders of Thought, for and on behalf of all the citizens, and indigenes and all interest groups in Eti-Osa. I thank you very much.
What other options are you looking at? Well, you just said legal option. From the onset, you said you don't want people to go on the street or to demonstrate. So it seems it is not an option on the table. So may we know the options on the table as we talk, and then why is it coming now? Because you said list has been written to the governor. Why do you delay at this point when the screening is about to take place before you started shouting?
First, you must note that a lot of this are shrouded in secrecy. Even the list we talk about, it is what we got from the press, as it were. There appear to be some deliberate efforts to ensure, maybe, there have been, they imagine that people may react, and therefore they wanted to deliberately keep it from the problem. The first list that came out merely listed names without local government indication. So, and then we have to inquire, look, do you by any means know this person? Do you, so that we don't go out before, verifying. And it was when it was clear to us that nobody, is an indigene among them. Then we wrote the first letter, which I referred to in my speech. And when that came, and other areas of Lagostate, protested, that there must be local government, because people wanted to know where are these people coming from. Then, in their characteristic manner, they probably thought that Eti-Osa is a no man's land. Nobody can claim. Then they now pushed all the names, especially those that could not be verified, pushed them to Eti-Osa. That was when it dawned on us that, oh, really, these are the ones from Eti-Osa. And again, like, we did a letter, I think it was the 10th of August, and I got confirmation that that had been received, that those coming from Eti-Osa, purported to be from Eti-Osa, should not be screened. So we've done all of those. And those are things that are within reach to do. What are the other options? Ladies and gentlemen, the legal option will be the last resort. All of the options are on the table. Because as we speak, we are talking about our rights. We're not begging. It's about the Constitution. Yes, there are political considerations. We're not saying pick Mr. John, Mr. whatever. No. But in all that you pick from among those you love, you must find those from Eti-Osa. In the last dispensation, only one person was from Eti-Osa. But government has the record that about 6 were from Eti-Osa. But what they didn't do that time was to indicate that this person, so we couldn't react. We were not too sure. We were to hear later that these other people were from Eti-Osa. Now, this is, and I think this is very important. Eti-Osa local government and Eti-Osa community was not created by the New Town Development Authority, in which case it is not a new creation of government. We have communities here in this area that have found their ways even into Yoruba mythology. For those of you who want to research, you go into it. There are communities here that have long history to such an extent that there are myths and mythologies around them. That's how ancient they've been. Eti-Osa was not just a place where they relocated people from other parts of Lagos, and therefore, who are these people anyway? No. There are history going beyond 500 years. There are relics within this environment that dates back more than 500 years, like to be substantiated. Eti-Osa people, before now, and up to now, are distinct to the extent that they have their distinct language. They spoke the Egbere language. That's who we are. If you are from Eti-Osa and you went as close as Lagos Island and you spoke, then you are either mocked or you don't appreciate it because of the difference in your coinage and your tongue. That's how distinct the place has been. There are obas here, there are chiefs here, there are freeborns here, there are no slaves here. We are not even an appendage of any part of Lagos, not other local governments of Lagos. We are better people who are so proud of our culture and what we stand for. You cannot, in the afternoon of the day, want to foist a situation of no man's land on us with people we don't know, with people who don't care about us, who don't share anything with us, not culture, not history, not social problems. There are ocean surge all over the places. Villages are threatened. Villages have been moved away. Villages are on the throes of extinction. These people don't care. They live in estates. These people you are using as subterfuge. They don't care. They don't share anything with us. And we have resources, lands. Before now, the situation of Omonile and all its negativity never existed. Our people were very proud farmers and fishermen who earned their living on their soil. This soil no longer exists. They've been supplanted by assets. Government collected the money. It is the owners of these estates that they are also using as subterfuge for indigenes. You put them into the boardroom to decide the lives of the citizens, of the indigenes. And that's total annihilation, total extinction of the very existential value that it.
Some of us have not seen the list or the appendages of the local government or areas you represent. So you have seen and you have identified like about 12 of the nominees are identified with Eti-Osa. Is it possible to let us in on these individuals whom you have said are impersonators of Eti-Osa in Indigenes?
But there's no need to even identify individuals. What we have said is that all of the 12, none is from Eti-Osa. And we are saying that if you look at them, some names are so obvious that they couldn't be from them. Let one of them, just one person, say that, why are you saying this? I am from Eti-Osa. I am from so family in Eti-Osa. That's exactly what we're talking about. Look, this whole thing, the argument that is often made, and we must flog this issue about, look, people live here, and so. Of all the people with whom we had the struggle about the toll gate and all of that, to the best of my knowledge, more than half of them are no longer here. And that's how inferior their interest in this environment is. Some people, they just sell the houses, sell the properties when it is no longer fashionable to do. But for indigenes, they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere else to go. We're talking of people who, when they were in primary, secondary school, and up till now, they identify as people from even outside the
political setup. Democracy, we say, is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And the Eti-Osa should not be absent in this situation. Then Afrobeat maestro, legend Adekunle Kofela, was saying something before he died. He said, who is the government teacher? He said, culture and tradition. And in a situation where any democracy is not carrying the culture and tradition along, I think we are not practicing democracy. So, as I wish to say, if the government of Lagostate, we want to fill the gap that belongs to Eti-Osa by bringing in mercenaries to fill those gaps, I believe there is a big question to be asked. So we don't know who offend the government in this situation, that we, the traditional rulers, the leadership political leadership of Eti-Osa cannot say, if our children want to go to higher institution, they need to dig to the roots of the indigeneousship of that very child to know who is the chief from the compound that child is coming from. And I believe this should be applicable to political nominations, that you are from which compound. The high chief, the Bale, or the Oba of Eti-Osa will not inherit setback. Thank you.
Orúkọ tèmi ni Alhaji Abdulbari Yusuf Afini, Chief Imam, Olomu Community Central Mosque, the Chairman, Council of Imams and Alfa Eti-Osa. Mo kí àwọn baálẹ̀ wa níjókòó àti gbogbo lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ l'Eti-Osa, àwùjọ tó wà níbi dédé. Tí pẹ́sidẹ́ntì Heritage kà síta, òun náà ni tí àfẹnukò nípa pé àìkàkún àwọn tó ń gbé l'Eti-Osa, ìjọba ò ka àwa tá à ń gbé l'Eti-Osa kún. A dẹ̀ ti ń ṣàkíyèsí àwọn nǹkan yìí bọ̀ sẹ́yìn ó pẹ́ díẹ̀. Ó ṣe lè jẹ́ pé nígbà tá a bá ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń dìde ń pariwo tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ náà ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa wá mọ̀ pé à ń fẹ̀tọ́ Eti-Osa dùn àwọn ọmọ Eti-Osa. Nígbà tí ìjọba máa gbé peninsula wá, Lẹ́kì náà sọ. Lẹ́kì ó wà ní ọwọ́ ọ̀gbẹ̀yìn Ìbẹ̀jú Lẹ́kì local government lọ́hùn. Ó dá ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wàhálà lẹ̀. Eti-Osa là ń jẹ́ ń bí. Bàbá wa fẹ́ sọ gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́nìkan bá fẹ́ sọ á ní Lẹ́kì lòun wà, Lẹ́kì lòun wà. Eti-Osa ló wà. Bóyá yẹn náà ló túbọ̀ jẹ́ kí ìjọba túbọ̀ máa tẹpá mọ́ nǹkan tí wọ́n ń ṣe. Wọ́n kọ́kọ́ tù kan sọ́nà Àdó ń bẹ̀ yẹn ní Òkè-Èrà. Ìgbà tí àwọn èèyàn wá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pariwo síta náà tó fi Eti-Osa sí. Hospital child and mother and child care tí wọ́n kọ́ sọ́nà Ọ̀gọ̀ǹbọ̀ ní Àjà ní Abamadé Sànyà. Ìgbà táwọn èèyàn wá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pariwo náà tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń fi Eti-Osa sí. Kí ni Eti-Osa ṣe? Eti-Osa ti ń bẹ láti kí àwọn colonial master tó dé. Eti-Osa ti ń bẹ. Tá a bá lè rí rẹ́kọ̀dù àwọn nǹkan tí àwọn colonial master ṣe, tá a rí àwọn àkọọ́lẹ̀ òfin, àwọn reports àwọn colonial master, àwọn òyìnbó tó wá sí Eti-Osa yìí, tá a dẹ̀ ń rí àkọọ́lẹ̀ wọn nípa Eti-Osa tó wọ́n dẹ̀ pé lórúkọ míì ju Eti-Osa yìí náà lọ. Kí ló wá dé nsìn? Èmi rò yí pé ká rọ ìjọba tó wà lóde nsìn kọ́ lo àǹfààní tó ní láti fi tún àwọn kùdìẹ̀kudiẹ wọ̀nyí, àwọn àṣìṣe tó jẹ́ pé kò bá wa lára mu. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìlú Eti-Osa, à ń ṣe ojúṣe wa, gbogbo tí wọ́n ń pè wá sí là ń ṣe. Èmi sì gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìmọ̀ mi kì í ṣe olóṣèlú, ṣùgbọ́n àbúrò mi, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, àwọn alàgbà wa tó ń ṣòṣèlú, wọn ò kúrò nínú ẹgbẹ́ yìí náà, APC náà ni. Mo ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ èèyàn pé kí lèmi náà wá jẹ́ ńgbà náà? APC lèmi náà. Àbí àwọn bàbá wa láti pìlẹ̀ wọn ò ní èyí kankan tó tẹ̀lé Awólọ́wọ̀ náà ni. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní Awólọ́wọ̀ progressive ni. So Eti-Osa is predominantly progressive. So kó má yọ wá kúrò ní setting. A sọ pé àwa ní èèyàn kan àwa kọ́ la fẹ́ fi èèyàn lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tẹ máa mú láàrin ibi tẹ bá ti mú ẹ̀mí ẹ̀yìn ṣúọ̀ pé ọmọ Eti-Osa ni kó lè nítorí pé kí àwọn ojúṣe wa nígbà tẹ bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ lókè lọ́hùn tẹ bá ń ṣe state council àbí state executive meeting kó jẹ́ pé ọmọ Eti-Osa ń bẹ̀ tí ó lè ṣe aṣojú ohun táwa náà ń fẹ́ tí ó jẹ́ pé nígbà tí ó sọ ọmọ yín bẹ̀ ló fi jó rí bẹ̀ abẹ́ gómìnà wa tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ sí elétí gbáròyè ni a dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àṣìṣe yìí bóyá kankan ló fà á àwọn olóṣèlú wa náà tó wà ní Eti-Osa a mọ̀ pé kán túlé wọn ṣe Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kílé náà wò ó tọ́ lẹ́nu.
Ọ̀kan láwọn olùkọ́sí baálé òkun àjà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ohun tí àwọn last speaker ti sọ àwọn òṣìfìmọ̀ àákan máa fi díẹ̀ kún ni àwọn tí a béèrè fún náà ni wọ́n sọ yìí àfikún tèmi ni wípé lótìtọ́ àti lódodo à ń gbìyànjú ní Eti-Osa yìí láti lè jẹ́ pé kíjọba lè mọ̀ pé a wà pẹ̀lú àwọn àtijọba Lagostate àti federal a wà pẹ̀lú wọn tí a lè ṣe déédéé kò sí tọ́mà pé wá sí àlè lọ ṣùgbọ́n ní Eti-Osa yìí ìjọba Lagostate wọ́n fìyà jẹ wá o wọ́n try kan ràn wá lọ́wọ́ for example láti gbàtà tí ń pariwo fún wọn etí òkun dà wá láàmú ó ń bá wa wọ̀yá àjà ní gbogbo ìgbà là ń pariwo àná a sì gbé tẹlifíṣàn kìíní wá síbẹ̀ yẹn tá à ń fídíò gbogbo ẹ̀ everybody ń sọ̀rọ̀ máa fi àsìkò yìí rọ gómìnà wa wọ́n ṣàánú wa o wọ́n má jẹ́ kókùn gbé wa lọ gbogbo ilé wa lókun ti wó jẹ́ lérí ilé ìtajókòó fún yìí kí gómìnà wa wọ́n consider wa wọ́n bá wa mú ọmọ Eti-Osa tá a máa rí pé tá a máa pè tá a máa lọ bá sọ̀rọ̀ tó máa ṣàṣojú wa nínú ìjókòó wọn yẹn ẹ̀kọ́ tá à ń fẹ́ nìyẹn o kọ́ta torí ẹ̀wà jókòó nìyẹn o àwa láti wá dàdúgbò àwa láti wá bájọba jà o àgbọn àpìlì sí wọn ni wọ́n dá wa lóhùn fún wa ní tá à ń fẹ́ pàápàá jùlọ a tún tẹnu mọ́ àwọn ò kì í ṣe Lẹ́kì o Eti-Osa ni wa gbogbo nǹkan tó bá kọ ní orúkọ àbá àdírẹ́sì tó ń fi Lẹ́kì sí kán lọ yọ kúrò látàsìkò yìí lọ Eti-Osa nìkan bá wà fi sí bí tèmi ṣe jẹ́ mi.
Orúkọ tèmi ni Chief Síkírù Olúwaníṣọlá kóòlù kò sọkọ baálẹ̀ ìrànlá ní àfikún nǹkan tí àwọn èèyàn mi ti sọ òun ní pé kọ́lọ́n ṣàánú wa ṣe rí Eti-Osa àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn leaders wa gangan a ní láti bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ because nǹkan tó bá gbé lọ sọ́hùn lọ́ máa tẹ̀lé ó lè jẹ́ pé kìíní ìgan wọ́wọ́ látọ̀wọ̀ àwọn leader wa níbà yìí tọ́lọ́ ní amókùn ẹrù ẹ̀wọ́ ọ̀nọ́kèlè ń wò ẹ̀wò sàlẹ̀ àwọn tó jẹ́ pé àwọn kan wà nínú àwọn ọmọ Eti-Osa yìí nínú ìjọba tó ṣe lọ yìí tó jẹ́ pé twice in a month wọ́n ṣe meeting pẹ̀lú gómìnà àwọn ẹlòmíín wà tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n sì ní èdè wọ́n ṣe pẹ̀lú gómìnà a dẹ̀ rí nínú ẹ̀ náà tó jẹ́ pé nínú àwọn míì ará àta lọ fi síbẹ̀ nínú ìjọba tó lọ kó tó di bóyá bọ́ sínú ilé yìí tó jẹ́ pé àwọn nǹkan tó bá máa ṣe àpò ara wọn lọ́wọ́ máa ṣe sí irú Eti-Osa tá à ń sọ lẹ́nu ọmọ Eti-Osa ọmọra wọn àtọ̀hún níwà àmọ́ra wa ṣùgbọ́n àwọn àgbàlagbà wọn lọ wọ́n bọ̀ wọ́n ní àjòjì ló kẹta lò ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo kìíní àwọn leaders wa wọ́n pẹ̀lú àwọn tó ń fún wa ní problem lọ́dẹ̀ fún wa ìsìn nǹkan tó ń tẹ̀ láti máa ṣe ni pé bámbá ni mo yó àmọ́ bóyá bí pọmọ ẹlòmíì tí ò lè yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ o a fẹ́ dárúkọ ni tó bá ní ká dárúkọ àmọ́ àwọn tá a máa dárúkọ tọ́lẹ̀ ṣe kìíní ṣọ́jú yẹn sìn bàbá àní dárúkọ àwọn tó wà ń bẹ̀ kùdìẹ̀kùdìẹ̀ tá à ń fèsì nísìn torí àwọn ọmọ wa lọ́la ni o ẹ jẹ́ ká eradicate à ń bẹ gọ́vnà a lè ń bẹ president kọjọ kọ́ ṣe nǹkan tó ní fún wa l'Eti-Osa. Eti-Osa ìlú mi ni, Eti-Osa ìlú tí gbogbo wa ni, kò dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ bàjẹ́, kò dẹ̀ ní bàjẹ́ láíláí. Kọ́ fún wa lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ wa, kọ́ fún wa lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ wa, kọ́ jọ, kọ́ ṣàánú wa.
For 30 seconds, the Students Association, 30 seconds.
Mo lè jẹ́ olùdarí gbogbo ọmọ iléèwé Eti-Osa pátápátá. Mo fẹ́ fi àsìkò yìí sọ wípé àwa tí a jẹ́ ọmọ iléèwé, tí a jẹ́ ọmọ òpópó lẹ́yìn àwọn bàbá wa ní Eti-Osa yìí, a gbèrò pẹ̀lú àwọn bàbá wa láti sọ wípé it is a huge slap on our face to see that a huge marginalization of this number is occurring in our vicinity. It is appalling to also see that out of 12 nominees from Eti-Osa, none of them are Indigenes. How do we, the youth, best transfer our aggressions and our desires if we don't have representatives from our own community? We want to seek a redress from the Mr. Governor Babajide Olusola. I mean, it is a slap to our face when we see that even at the local jurisdiction, we don't have people that talk, that say things that has to do with the student jurisdiction. And I want everybody here to also note that we the youth, we are woke. We are here to stand with our fathers, because I'm even happy to see that a lot of us can come here together, both the young, the old, the mothers, the learned, and the fortunate can come here together to stand with one voice. We seek a redress, and we want the government to do a resubmission of those names and give quality representatives to the indigenous students and the youths and the fathers of this community. Eti-Osa is not a no man's land. This is a cry we've been carrying right from the time of the general election, and it is high time that we give what is worth to the indigenous bodies. Thank you so much, Mr.
Eti-Osa Student Association yìí tí ó di heritage tó di gbogbo ẹ̀, àwọn bàbá pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n dálẹ̀ nígbà yẹn ní àti ìgbà yẹn dàbí wọ́n ṣe NC program ọ̀pọ̀ ní lọ́dún yẹn lọ́rùn. Wọ́n wò pé àwọn kan wà ní àwọn Muslim kìíní ni wọ́n àwọn àfáà ni wọ́n bá wọn dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ kìíní wọn ṣe pé kí lórúkọ ẹ̀ àfáà tí yóò dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ ìlú ọlọ́mọdé kí ìlú dàrú tí ìlú bá dàrú ọlọ́run ṣé wọn ará àfáà ẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe. So àwọn ní irú wọn pé wọ́n ń dá sí ló fi jẹ́ pé ṣíṣe yẹn ó mú kò sí jàgídíjàgan àti ó jẹ́ nǹkan tí ó tọ̀nà. Àwọn baálẹ̀ wa gbogbo ìgbà tá bá pè wọ́n ó ṣeéṣe káwọn náà máa dọ́jú ojú wọn ẹ mọ̀ pé mò ń gbowó lọ́wọ́ ìjọba ẹ má jẹ́ kí wọ́n rí mi o ẹ má jẹ́ kí lorúkọ ẹ̀ ìlú ò ní dàrú lórí yín o ìlú ò ní dàrú lórí yín o gbogbo àwọn ìlú wa gbogbo àwọn ìlú tí ẹ wà tó jẹ́ pé ẹ ṣàkóso rẹ̀ gbogbo wọn náà máa dàgbà sí gbogbo àwọn ìlú yín náà lọ́dẹ̀ máa ṣoríire ìlú mo dárúkọ Eti-Osa Indigenous Student Association báyìí, so mo fi àwọn bàbá mo fi orúkọ wọn kí gbogbo àwọn àfáà àti imams, mo tó fi kí àwọn students náà tó kù ní ESA. Nígbà tó ọmọ yẹn sọ̀rọ̀ sí ó sọ pé àwọn bàbá wọn ò gbéṣẹ́ àwa náà ni àti ìjọ òlábẹ̀ náà ti àwọn náà ti di àwọn ọmọkùnrin náà àwọn náà ti di bàbá báwa ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ nígbà yẹn náà ni as students náà pa àwọn bàbá lágbára Ọlọ́run ẹ̀yin náà dàgbàdàgbà ẹ̀rẹ́ ni pè yín bàbá ẹ̀rẹ́ ni pè yín grandfather. Members of Indigenes Forum, the chairman ó yẹ kó wà bílẹ̀ yìí gbogbo yín pátápátá gbogbo yín ni mo kí wọ́n ṣe wà níbi tó wà náà sọ fún mi pé àwọn bọ́ọ̀sì wà níbì kan wọ́n máa wọ ọbẹ̀ ń bọ̀ wọ́n tún máa pè wọ́n máa ṣe pé kí lorúkọ tí ò bá sẹ́yìn kò sáwà o ṣẹ́rí tá a bá ń sọ ìbò a bá gbé kóòtù mọ́ tá a ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ àwa máa ń jọ àwọn àjòjì àbáwọn àtọ̀húnrìn báyìí ẹ̀yin lẹ máa ń fi nǹkan tí òyìnbó ń pè ní legitimacy pé òótọ́ ni àwọn Indigenes àwọn Eti-Osa gangan ní eléyìí wàá bẹ̀ ẹ̀yin Ọlọ́run ní ti wò igbó Eti-Osa leaders of church àwọn bàbá òsì bí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló wà bí nígbà tá a gbé ìgbésẹ̀ yìí tá a fẹ́ ṣe heritage a ní a lè dáṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ béèrè wá síbí èyí tó ju èrè tí wọ́n jẹ lábọ̀ ọjà Ọlọ́run àfi fún yín o lábẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ wá kí àwọn akẹgbẹ́ mi Eti-Osa Heritage Organization kan láfààyè gbà so Ọlọ́run ní fi ṣọ́ra dè wá àwa náà máa rọ̀ ní bákan ibi tí ó bá kù sí ní lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ àbí àwọn group tí mi ò bá dárúkọ èèyàn lásán ni mí o tí mi ò bá dárúkọ ní tí mi rántí Ọlọ́run ọba ti rántí ìgbàlẹ̀ ìmọ̀ ọkọ̀ kí gbogbo bálẹ̀ rọ̀ pátápátá ẹ̀yin bálẹ̀ ṣé wọ́n pé every time even tó bàbá ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ kìíní àwọn bálẹ̀ tó bá jókòó báyìí ẹni bá lóun ò rí wọn àbóhùn ò tí ì rí gbogbo royalty Eti-Osa á jẹ́ pé bóyá ó fọ́jú ni wọ́n náà ẹgbẹ́ team Lagos wà bíbà yìí gbogbo ìmọ̀kí àti gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí orúkọ mi ni Adéwálé Sanni iṣẹ́ amòfin èmi ń ṣe jẹun ọmọ Eti-Osa ni ọmọ Eti-Osa
gbogbo tí ẹgbẹ́ síta ìdásíwájú ìjọba kọ́lọ̀ jẹ́ kí ó bọ́ sí bá ti ń fẹ́ ìtànfẹ́ náà ní pé wọ́n fi ọmọ Eti-Osa méjì mẹ́ta wọ́n fi sínú kábínẹ̀tì kó dẹ̀ máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ìtànfẹ́ ni á jẹ́ àpọ́nlé fún àwọn bàbá fà fún àwọn tó wà kó Ọlọ́run tá à ń fẹ́ lábẹ́rẹ̀ yìí Ọlọ́run má ṣàkóso wa lọ́wọ́ lórí ẹ̀ abẹ́ Ọlọ́run ààbò fún gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n gbé ètò yìí kalẹ̀ ààbò Ọlọ́run láti kọjá lórí yìí ọlọ́pọ̀ hánìlásí abẹ́ Ọlọ́run fún àwọn ọba wa láti ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ débi tó dé ààbò Ọlọ́run láti ọjà lára wọn lẹ́yìn ìjókòó ìgbogbo bí tọ́wọ́n náà máa tẹ bọ́tìsì Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kan rí tẹ̀ bá ti tọrọ fún àwọn ọba àtọrọ fún àwọn olóyè lápapọ̀ àti gbogbo àwọn baálẹ̀ wa Ọlọ́run ọba ò ní dà lórí wọn yín lórí èyí tá a ṣe yìí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká gba yìí ń bẹ̀ abẹ́ Ọlọ́run fún àwọn heritage group àwọn ESA tí wọ́n jẹ́ kí ètò náà bàjẹ́ Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí ẹ ṣàṣeyege gbogbo ọmọléèwé ẹ jáde pẹ̀lú flying colours àwọn ọlọ́jà Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ àtàtàjèrè abẹ́ Ọlọ́run fún gbogbo stakeholder tó wà ń bí tẹ́lifọ̀ kan wá ti wá Ọlọ́run aṣọ àpadà sílé lẹ́yà tàlàfíà ní pàtàkì jùlọ àmọ́ ohun tí ìlú Nàìjíríà ń kọjá lára ẹ̀ báyìí Ọlọ́run trying time láwà abẹ́ Ọlọ́run ètò yìí orí àpáta ni president ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ibi líle ni Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká bọ́ síbi tí ó rọ̀ gbogbo ọgbọ́n àti òye tí wọ́n lò tí ẹkọ́nọ́mì wa tí ó fi bá padà bọ̀ sípò tọ́wọ́ yóò máa sọ pé àdẹ̀mọ̀ kó lè padà rí báyìí ó padà wá dẹ̀ o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kọ́lá tó jẹ́ fún wa bisimilahi rahman rahim alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin arrahman rahim maliki yawmiddin iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين